Mary here from Mary's Heirloom Seeds, and welcome to my weekly live chat. I am in the garden. It is a little chilly. I had actually planned on being in a different garden this morning, but it looks like they're doing some tree chopping or something, and they've got all sorts of loud everything going on. So welcome. I'm a little chilly in the shade here, but I'm going to go ahead and share some information about pepper with you. If you are new to my channel, welcome. For those of you that join me regularly, welcome back. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If you haven't already, definitely do that. Can you see me? That's a question I normally ask is, can you see me and can you hear me? Because that will definitely help me out if I know that you can actually hear what I'm saying. Hey, Esther's daughter, thanks for joining me. So I had a special request from a customer to discuss peppers. And for those of you that watch me regularly, you know I've got a Wednesday live chat on Facebook and a Saturday morning live chat here on YouTube. And so you can always watch the replay at a later time. In the description section of this video, you'll find a link to my comprehensive planting guide, a link to our pepper seeds, our t-shirts. Hey Bertha, thanks for joining me. And if you didn't know, it's a little chilly here in East Texas. It will be a little warmer this afternoon, but not only am I in a long sleeve shirt today, I also have a coat on. And that's rare because I'm usually out here and it's sunny and I'm sweating. So a customer asked me to discuss peppers. And now is a great time actually to discuss peppers because it's cold. Most of you, if you've got snow on the ground, you're not gardening, but maybe you want to learn more about peppers now so that you can have awesome peppers later. Hey, Krista and Michelle, thanks for joining me. So welcome in. I'm going to share with you some information about not only proper care of peppers, but choosing the pepper that you want in your garden. Hey, Denise, thanks for joining me as well. And I'm going to talk about where to put your peppers. Okay, so it is 9 a.m. this morning, Central Time here in East Texas, and it is November 22nd. And this pepper plant behind me looks not in great shape, but considering it's November 22nd and I'm still harvesting peppers, that's pretty good. I've got another pepper plant in front of me that I'll show you in just a second. As soon as I'm done with this, what to do with your peppers, I'll show you. And the actual plant looks sad because we had a hard freeze early this year in early November, and some of my pepper plants survived. They had a little die off, but the peppers that were still there, most of them didn't die. They still stayed there. And my Tabasco plants in the other garden are massive, and they didn't die because they're in a special spot. Don't ask me why, I have no idea, but that whole garden is like magic. So these behind me here are called Takanatsume. I planted these in a bed of tomatoes and basil and peppers. And then now that the tomatoes and the basils are gone, I have rutabagas growing. But this pepper has still outlasted all of those plants, so I'm excited about that. But the rutabagas are also doing well. It's fall, feels like winter right now here, so a lot of you aren't necessarily continuing to grow peppers, so now is a good time to talk about it. All right, I'm gonna move my stuff over here. Even though it's cold, I'm still drinking my water. Hey Inga, thanks for joining me as well. Oh my goodness, everything's blowing away here. It's a little chilly here, but I'm excited about it. All right, so let's talk about the basics of peppers. If you're gonna start seeds indoors, if you wanna get a head start on your seeds, to transplant out, the recommended timing is 8 to 12 weeks before your last frost date. So we use the Old Farmer's Almanac to determine when our frost dates are. And for those of you that might have been confused, the Farmer's Almanac is closing. The Old Farmer's Almanac is not, and that's what we use for frost dates. That will give you the most accurate, in my opinion. So I use that. I type in my zip code, and it tells me that my last frost is approximately March 12th or 15th, and my first frost is approximately November 12th to 13th. So it's the 22nd. It was 80 degrees here yesterday. Hot, right? But now it's going to start cooling down over the next couple of weeks. Like I said, we had 29 degrees and then it got to be 80 degrees. So some of my plants died off and I replaced them with other seeds, but some of my peppers survived. Peppers need a good sunny spot. The recommended sunlight is at least 6 hours. I need at least 8 hours. I don't want to use that 6 hours because you may or may not have. Inga, I'm not 100% sure which one. I go online and check it out because I do collect books, but I don't want to have to buy the book every year. So it's just easier for me to check it out online. And then I use my own notebook and write in the actual freeze for me so I know for next year I can check it out. So if you're going to want to get a head start on it, especially if you've got a short growing season, you want to plant your seeds indoors. The recommendation, like I said, is 8 to 12 weeks. Because I have a long growing season, I generally do about 4 weeks indoors because I don't always have the extra space to do 12 weeks. But if you've got a short growing season, that's a recommended time. For maturing peppers, it's going to take anywhere from 60 to 90 days after you transplant your peppers to start harvesting. So that gives you an idea of timing on when you're going to plant it and when you're going to be harvesting it. There are some that are faster maturing than others. Like I said, 60 to 90 days. So that's a good swing. I will have an upcoming video about growing indoors. I should be filming it this afternoon. I finally cleared out my space. It's too early really to start seeds indoors for me, but I wanted to at least give you guys a heads up on what I use. For example, pepper seeds need heat. You can try, but it's very difficult to get seeds to germinate in low temperatures. Specifically, peppers need 70 degrees in the soil for optimal germination. And in order to get that, you're probably going to need to use a heat mat. So I'm going to discuss that in my video as well. Moisture. Too much water, not enough water, is not good for your peppers. It is a great way to have sickly looking peppers. You want to maintain your moisture so that it's moist but not wet or damp. They don't like to sit in, like my granny used to say for tomatoes, they don't like wet feet. So you need well-drained soil. Consistent moisture is important for optimal growth, for optimal production of peppers. And listen, I totally understand that Mother Nature, it's going to rain when it's going to rain, and there's nothing you can really do about it. So you can't really say, okay, all right, I've had enough rain, we're good, no more. We had 2 inches of rain the other day, and we hadn't had rain in weeks. And I have not watered those Tabasco plants for probably 3 weeks, and they've done fantastic. So I gave them a little bit of a stress. I wasn't really sure that they would survive, and they have survived. So that's always a plus. Krista says, I've been keeping a daily weather tracker for the past 4 years to help guide and prep each season and note freeze dates. Awesome. That's what I do as well. So like I said, the recommendation is 4 hours of direct sunlight at least, and I prefer 8 hours. So it is 9 o'clock. The sun is just about to go over these trees, and it will be full sun here until about 5 o'clock. So that's a good amount of time. Hey, there's Buster Kitty. I'm over here. Nutrients are important. Peppers are considered heavy feeders. So you're going to want to make sure that you start with a good soil base. When you are starting your seeds, you don't need fertilizer because your seeds have everything they need to germinate except for water and heat. They don't need fertilizer at that point. Now, once they start to grow, you're definitely going to want to use a fertilizer. So when I'm planting seeds indoors, I will do hey kitty, I will do a diluted version of my compost tea. We sell the little packets, and it's 1 packet is for 1 gallon, and so I'll use that for 2 gallons, or I'll just use half of the packet for a whole gallon, and I'll feed all my seedlings. And then the extra, of course, can be used outside in your gardens. So if I'm going to be transplanting into the garden, so we want to give them a good head start. Hey, Grim Gardens, thanks for joining us. He's over there jigging in the water. So we want to give our pepper plants a good head start before we transplant out. So I'm going to make sure my soil is ready to go ahead of time. So that means I'm going to mix in my compost. I'm going to mix in my mountain flower root boost and my azomite ahead of time. I'm not going to fertilize when I transplant. I want to make sure that the soil is ready to go maybe 4 weeks before I start transplanting into the soil. So I have a good mix. It's had a good time to meld, to grow some good bacteria in the soil from all that good stuff that I added to it. And then that way I'm not shocking my transplant as soon as I put it out there. So that's really important. One question that I keep getting is things like, is it hot? Is it cold? Is it sweet? Is it not? So hot peppers are my favorite. And that is where the SHU, the Scoville heat units, comes into play. Yes, it's cold. Scoville heat units is the measurement of spicy peppers. And it was named after a scientist who used the hot peppers with water, and I think it was water and sugar to extract the heat. And it was how much it was diluted until it was no longer hot. And so for peppers, you have anywhere from 0 Scoville heat units to 16 million, which is pure capsaicin. That's hot. Buster, come here. So, bell peppers are going to be a 0. They can be a sweet pepper, they can be a mild pepper, but they're going to be a 0 Scoville rating. Whereas like the Trinidad scorpion pepper is, I think, 1.2 million. So those are really hot peppers. And at Mary's Heirloom Seeds, we carry anywhere from the sweet peppers to the hots, and even what I consider a super hot. And then we have everything in between. Size wise, you can go anywhere from a miniature bell pepper, which is a little like, I have like 3 of them that fit in the palm of my hand, to a large bell pepper. Scotch bonnets, which are small, shishito peppers, which are small. So at 16 million, he uses a whole bag of sugar, possibly. As far as caring for your peppers goes, there are a couple things you can do once you already have your garden established. There are a couple things you can do to possibly improve the health of your peppers, but also to improve production of peppers for your plants. So first and foremost is I will trim the first flowers. By removing the first flowers in the early stages of your garden, of your pepper growth, that will help your plant put more energy into producing good healthy roots and good sturdy plant, instead of taking some of that energy to actually grow your peppers. So yeah, you're going to be harvesting peppers maybe a little later than normal, if you had just left them. But at the same time, you are potentially giving your plant more energy to produce more peppers at a later time. So that is one thing that I have done that has really helped. I do the same thing with my tomatoes, especially if my plant is fairly small and it's not at full size production. I start pinching off the flowers on that, so it will give the plant better energy to produce a healthier plant and then start fruiting. And so once you do that, and once your plant starts to be ready for harvest regularly. So you don't want the plant to have all this ripe fruit sitting on it, because then it's not producing more. So harvest regularly, harvest early, and that way you can get the most benefit out of your plant. I'm looking at this right now, and I have to harvest it just to show it to you. Again, it's November 22nd, and I still have peppers, which is kind of cool. This is called Biquinho yellow peppers. This one is not spicy. It's a flavorful pepper. It has a really awesome flavor to it. So I was really surprised that it wasn't hot. I knew it wasn't hot, but when I started reading about it, I was like, that looks like a spicy pepper, but it's not. But the flavor of these is just, it's amazing. It's not sweet, but it has a good pepper flavor for such a small pepper, right? And then also has almost like a citrusy flavor to it, which is kind of fun as well. So pinch your flowers off early, harvest regularly like these. I'm going to make another sauce with these that's not spicy. It's going to be really good. These would be really good in a tomatillo salsa, one if you didn't want it to be super spicy. And then also if you're growing in containers, that's another great question. Let's see if Buster's going to show his face. No, he's going to show us his butt. If you want to grow peppers in containers, you want to make sure you have a good size container. At a minimum, I would say 5 gallons for a pepper. Now, I have a couple of grow bags over on the other side of my garden, and I have them in 5 gallons and 10-gallon grow bags. And I will say this, my 10-gallon grow bag peppers are far more productive. They're larger and they're healthier than the 5 pounds. 5 gallons, sorry, 5 pounds. So if you want to grow a bigger pepper and possibly more peppers, I definitely recommend going with a 10-gallon versus a 5-gallon. So just throwing that out there at you. These are grow bags. Obviously, you can go use a larger container if you want, but I like the durability of the grow bags because in Texas it's hot, and when I've used like the plastic containers, they break after like the second year, whereas my grow bags, I'm on year 4. We moved here in 2021 and I started right away using the grow bags, and now we're at 25, so that's 4 years. So next year will be 5 years and they are still in great shape. So just throwing that out there at you as well. Grow bags can last for quite a while. Sean Grow says, is there such thing as a dwarf pepper plant for the grow bags conversation? There are plants that are smaller than others. I wouldn't say they're dwarf, but I would say that you can grow smaller ones. Krista says, and the Bikini yellow, by the way, fantastic for that. The Takanatsume that's behind me, another one that's fantastic for that. My Tabasco peppers are currently 6 feet tall. So I would not plant Tabasco peppers in a grow bag because they just get so tall. It's like a tree. And so I wouldn't do that. The Chili de Arbol, that one gets big. Cayenne pepper, mine gets big. Let's see, what else am I looking at over here? Aleppo pepper, that variety gets really big. Denise, that is a great question, and I will share that with you in just a second. The cherry tomatoes, peppers. The small miniatures that I just discussed with you, that's a good one. Datil, that's a good one as well. All right, I will tell you about how many peppers I have in just a second. So once you have your grow bags, you want to make sure you maintain the moisture level. Don't let it dry out, but don't have it sitting in water all the time. And then back to the water thing, mulching your plants will help retain the moisture so that you don't have to water as often. But using companion plants around your pepper plants will also shade the soil so that it retains the moisture so that you don't have to water as often as well. And so some of those that are great for peppers are going to be herbs like thyme, cilantro, anise, and basil. Those are really good ones to plant around your plants so that they give you a nice shade around your base of your plant so that it's not drying out as quickly as it would if you just had bare soil. It's one really important thing. Like this, I had tomatoes, I had basil, I had a couple of other things in this raised bed, and then as soon as I pulled out those tomatoes, because I didn't do very well, I went ahead and planted a covering of rutabagas, and these I can just start harvesting whenever I want to. There's turnips on the other side, so there's a lot in there that I can continue to harvest but also keep the soil covered. Now, Denise says how many varieties of peppers you have, and that is next on my list in choosing the right pepper for what you want out of your pepper garden. We currently offer over 90 varieties of tomato seeds. Sorry. I'm watching, totally distracted. We offer over 100 varieties of tomato seeds. We offer over 90 varieties of pepper seeds. I got peppers and tomatoes on the brain today because I'm super excited about all the new stuff that we added. So the Pequeño Yellow is one that I got in my hand here. That one is no spice whatsoever. It is 0 on the Scoville heat units. We've got Golden Cow Wonder Bell Pepper, which is a sweet pepper. It's a fairly large bell pepper though, so depending on what type of size and space that you want for your garden, the bell peppers are going to need more space, whereas the Pequeño Yellow didn't require as much space. I've got 2 sitting right in front of me that didn't take up as much space. Same thing with the Takanatsume pepper. It is an upright pepper. It it didn't branch out like some of my other peppers did. The Tabasco pepper I'm looking at way over there, and I've got, I think, maybe 6 plants alongside the back and around the side of a 4-foot by 8-foot bed, and they're 6 feet tall, so they needed more space than some of these other ones. The super hots that I mentioned include things like habanero. I'm sorry, I'm not seeing comments here. Datil is smaller. Inga says, yep, the plant is smaller, and that's a nice spicy one from Florida. The Jimmy Nardello is an Italian sweet pepper that's used often for frying, so it's called a sweet frying pepper. And then we also have shishito pepper, which does have some spice to it, and it's also a good one for frying. I see a lot of people, they do what's called blistering. So you just put some hot oil, put some oil in the pan and make it sure it's hot, and then toss your peppers in there and they scorch and they blister, and then you're good, and then you can use them for whatever you want, whether it's a sauce or whether you just eat it like that. I like to use shishito peppers in sauces and things because it gives it a kick without being too hot. And so that's where the Scoville heat rating goes in. Most of my hot peppers at Mary's Heirloom Seeds have the Scoville heat rating on there. And to give you an example, I had somebody ask me about the Aleppo peppers. I've got one right here. I'm going to go grab it and show it to you. So this is a green version of the Aleppo pepper. Usually they ripen to red, but you can eat them when they're green. It's no problem. And the Aleppo pepper is about 10,000 Scoville heat units. And to give you a comparison, jalapeno is about 3,500 to 8,000 Scoville heat units. So if jalapeno is too hot for you, you might want to go with something more mild, like an Anaheim pepper or an Ancho Poblano pepper, or for the smaller ones, like I said, the Pequeño Yellow. But I love the Aleppo peppers. I actually harvested this. I was like, oh, I'll just chop it up and throw it in my salad. I like hot stuff, no big deal. It was pretty hot. So the 10,000 is the Aleppo pepper. And then you have things like the Tabasco pepper, which is more, I think the Tabasco is more like a 25,000 or more. Krista says shishito peppers are a surprise pepper, sometimes not spicy. It varies. And sometimes the spiciness, the added spiciness or the increased spiciness can be from stress. I found that when my hot peppers got less water and more hot weather, they were hotter in general than the ones that got too much water, because you're basically just like diluting the pepper, it feels like. So those are a really good one. Tabasco pepper, I actually did a live chat about making hot pepper sauce. And so it's as simple as choosing the pepper you want. And I've done all Tabasco sauce, or I've done a mixture of Tabasco, cayenne, and habanero. I did orange habanero, which gave it a lighter color than my Tabasco. My Tabasco was a dark red. And then you add water, vinegar, garlic, and salt. Super simple. Doesn't require a lot of ingredients. It makes for a good, clean hot sauce, and you just throw it all in a blender, blend it up really well, and then put it in the refrigerator. And that will store in the refrigerator for quite a while. I've seen some people say that it'll last for 6 months. It doesn't last that long for me because I use it in so many things. The hot pepper was a really good one. And then, like I said, you've got the habaneros. They're anywhere from about 150 to 300,000 Scoville heat units. So just to give you a comparison of all of those different varieties. And then you've got the Trinidad scorpion pepper, which, like I said, is about 1.2 million. I'm not 100% sure if that was accurate. And then it's going to vary. Like Krista said, sometimes your shishitos are hotter and sometimes they're not. And that's going to be environmental. So if it gets too much water, not enough water, more sun, more heat stress. Heat stress can actually cause your peppers to produce less, but I have found that even in the Texas heat, they're still productive here. I mean, all of these peppers that I'm pointing out to you have produced or continued to produce for quite a while. Hey, Zany May, and hey, Haga, thanks for joining me. You missed most of it this morning, but that's okay. You can always watch the replay. I'm going to grab my thing here. Let's see. Bertha says habaneros are your favorite. Cool. Here we go. There you go. So this is my sad looking pepper. You can see where it got some scorched in the freezing, but look how many peppers are in there. It's a massive amount of peppers. So there you go. That gives you, there you go. That gives you an idea of how prolific those peppers can be, and hopefully this information is helpful for you. I know, right, Krista? It's insane how many peppers are there. I love habaneros as well. They are a fantastic pepper. We carry a white habanero, a chocolate habanero, which is just a brown one. Doesn't taste like chocolate, I promise. We've got the orange habaneros, so very, very cool. The Wickershire project, whole family is big on sweet peppers. We have peppers growing, bananas and bells until the first few weeks ago. Yeah, we had a real hard freeze, and a lot of my warm weather crops took a hit, but a lot of them didn't die. They had some insulation here, and it worked out. And while the plant doesn't look as healthy as it did 2 months ago, it still has peppers all over it. So this plant, I just harvested a bunch of the orange ones on Tuesday, and then now the ones that were kind of a green color are back to yellow. So now I'm going to harvest those as well. So I already mentioned that you got to harvest regularly, and that kind of breaks that rule there. But I did harvest a bunch already, a whole bag of them. And now the ones that were not so ripe are more ripe now, so I can harvest those as well. So I appreciate that you joined me. In the description section of this video, you'll find a link to my comprehensive planting guide. You'll find a link to the pepper varieties we have at Mary's Heirloom Seeds. We've got anywhere from purple bell peppers, chocolate colored bell peppers, yellow, green, and just so many different varieties between the heat, the mild. Oh, there's Buster again, scaring me to death as he runs towards me. So there's a lot to choose from. If you have questions, you can always send me an email. My email is mary@marysheirloomseeds.com, and I'm always happy to answer questions you've got about seeds or gardens. And then we also have a seed sale going on right now. It's actually a small business Saturday sale. So if you want more information on that and you didn't receive the email, send me an email. My email is mary@marysheirloomseeds.com. Yes, definitely. Thumbs up on the video, share the video, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. And I'm going to get going on that video of starting seeds indoors. And I'm going to eat some of these peppers while I'm out here, but I don't like eating on camera. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me. Go check out the peppers I've got here at Mary's Heirloom Seeds, and choose a new one this year. Thanks for joining me, and happy planting.